gorgeous new Ford Center in downtown Evansville, Indiana. It's rivalry night tonight as the Evansville Purple Aces host the Indiana State Sycamores on ESPNU. And good evening, everyone. I'm Mitch Holtis along with David Kaplan. Two of the top 7 scorers in the country are in the Valley. Now, people are finding out about Creighton's Doug McDermott, but I don't think they know about Evansville's Colt Ryan.
This guy exploded for 39, a career high, in a win over Bradley. He can knock down the triple. He can take it off the rim and take it the length of the court. He can fill a lane in transition. This guy's a big-time player. Junior really has come into his own this year. Legitimate candidate. Everyone talks about McDermott and Kyle Weems. He's right there in the Player of the Year race.
And leads the league in minutes played, but it's not just scoring for him. He'll do some other things. He's 4th in the league in steals, but another comprehensive player in the Valley.
He's one of those guys that will beat you in a variety of ways, and he is really looking to make a statement in front of the nationally televised audience tonight.
Well, it's an in-state rival. It's Evansville and Indiana State tonight on ESPNU, coming up at the top of the hour.
All right, gentlemen, we thank you. Carl Richard and those Sycamores. Nice start to the season. They've struggled in Valley play, trying to get back on track tonight against Evansville. That game again tipping, as you can see, less than 5 minutes.
Last year, Indiana State made the NCAA tournament under head coach Greg Lansing. Tonight, he's on the road. It's in-state rivalry time. Usually, they talk about the Colts in Indiana. Tonight, we talk about the Colt, as in Colt Ryan, one of the top scorers in the country. It's Evansville hosting Indiana State. From the gorgeous new Ford Center in downtown Evansville, Indiana. Such great tradition here in southern Indiana between these two schools. They've met since 1921. Evansville hosting the Indiana State Sycamores. And good evening, everyone. I'm Mitch Holtis along with David Kaplan. Hey, the rest of the country's finding out about Doug McDermott of Creighton, but there's 2 of the top 7 scorers in the Valley. I'm not sure they know about Colt Ryan of Evansville, but they should.
Well, he can score in a variety of ways, Mitch. He can take it off the rim, take it the whole way. He can knock down the triple. He can beat you in the lane in transition. He can beat you with his defense. This guy is a prime-time player, and he's looking to use this national stage to make a statement.
And the one-on-one, Indiana State, though, is getting some play. Carl Richard was great during their midweek game, the win over Northern Iowa.
He was. He's been dealing with back spasms off and on throughout the season. Played very well against Northern Iowa. He needs to be a horse inside tonight. And there's the Colt. This guy is a big-time player. We know about Doug McDermott. We know about Kyle Weems. The Colt is as good a player as the league has.
And those 3 outstanding perimeter players in this league. All right, Indiana State, Jake Odom is the lead guard. He had a triple-double earlier this year, a big reason they made the NCAA tournament last year. Dwayne Lathan, very aggressive on the perimeter as a senior. For Evansville, they need to get some inside play. Sawville's playing better, and then the seniors, Holmes and Harris, trying to pick up their game as the Valley goes to the back 9. Good officials tonight. Paul Jansen, Kelly Self, Don Daly, all veterans working this in-state rivalry game. A very close series. This is the 156th game between these two teams. Evansville, 5 national championships in the old college division. Indiana State had 1. They used to play that national title game in this city. First possession. Game on in the Valley tonight on ESPNU, and Indiana State will have it first.
And Evansville wearing orange uniforms. It's a special thing Marty Simmons came up with because he wanted to pay tribute to Aaron McCutcheon, a great coach here in their history, and Jerry Sloan. So they came out with a surprise. Nobody took their shooter shirt off, the warm-up shirt, until right at the starting lineup, boom, the orange, and the crowd responded.
You remember, they always wore the sleeves here for years and years and years, even when Jimmy Cruz was head coach.
Last year, in the final game at Roberts, their old stadium, they wore those shirts.
Used to say it was always shirt-sleeve weather in Evansville. Good defense here by Indiana State. Evansville so precise, Cap. They're just going to continue to run their stuff. Good shot fake. Missing, though, was Troy Taylor, and Evansville gets a brand-new shot clock. Taylor says, forget the outside shot, and a good hustle play. Sawville knocks it out, another possession.
That back tap is another gained possession. Doesn't show up anywhere in the score sheet. The coaches will know, and it leads to a bucket. By banging the glass, it leads to an opportunity, and they score.
Kenny Harris has been hot. He had 18 at Wichita State on Wednesday night. Richard Harris giving him a lot of attention. And a deflection out of bounds. Greg Lansing, head coach at Indiana State in his second year. Only the second coach in ISU history to lead the Sycamores to an NCAA tournament in their first year. The only other guy to do it was Bill Hodges, the year Larry Bird went all the way to the finals against Magic in that Bird versus Magic NCAA championship game, considered the best maybe of all time.
Right, and they beat DePaul in the semifinal, 76-74. Bird had 33, and Mark Aguirre was the great player on the other side. So some tremendous talent.
I've said this a lot in the Valley lately, but right guy, right place, right time. Greg Lansing fits that role, as does Marty Simmons of Evansville.
Big key for Indiana State to come in here and win. They have got to play outstanding defense. They're an up-and-down defensive team. When they guard, they're really good. And when they don't, people beat up on them.
And to your point, they're undefeated this year when they hold opponents' cap to 63 or less. Under Greg Lansing, they're 23-0 at that benchmark in 2 years. Taylor, great look. Spots up and knocks it home.
Well, nice job to make the extra pass, and that's what Marty Simmons' club does. Make the extra pass. He comes from one of the great high school coaches in the history of the sport, the great Ron Felling, who was a longtime assistant to Bob Knight as well, but coached him at Lawrenceville, Illinois, where Marty the Mule was unstoppable.
In fact, he was inducted into the Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame, Marty was, for his time there in Lawrenceville. Odom, not a great perimeter shooter from three in both teams. Now, this will be an offensive foul on Miles Walker. All right, Marty Simmons was Colt Ryan before Colt Ryan. He was 6th in the nation, Cap, as a senior here in scoring when he played at the University of Evansville, averaging 26 points a game.
And he was a guy who would score a ton of points around the basket because he'd bull his way to the hoop. The Colt really likes to knock down the triple. The triple wasn't big when Marty was coming along.
Again, he played his first 2 years for Bob Knight at Indiana, then transferred here when Jim Cruz took this job. And there's Colt Ryan, the athleticism, the elevation, 6-2. Evansville, and now a steal. The Aces return the favor, and a bad pass by Denver Holmes. They go inside out. Prenny, a good three-point shooter.
Prenny can flat out fill it up. I mean, this guy has tremendous range. He and his sister Jamie, the only brother-sister combo in the NCAA tournament last year, she plays at Iowa.
For Lisa Bluter, one of the most respected women's basketball coaches in the country. And Lathan attacks on the other end.
Indiana State cannot settle for threes. If they get a good look, take it. But they've got to attack. They cannot play passive or they cannot beat Evansville. Got to be aggressive.
Ryan gets a lot of attention. Actually double him. Marty Simmons, you mentioned that they do such a great job at Evansville of running their stuff. They screen. They're one of the best screening teams in the country. Great curl and a layup, and Ryan's got 4.
That is all design. They practice that till the cows come home. He runs that curl move. You better have that pass right where he wants it, just about chest high. Catch it and finish.
Evansville overplays the passing lane. Richard posting up inside. Odom, and he loves that, to dish it off to an opponent. Richard's first bucket. Jake Odom, 3rd in the Valley in assists.
Nice job by Jake Odom to not turn it over. There were a lot of hands grabbing at that ball, and he made a good interior pass.
Indiana State leads by 1. Lathan gets in the passing lane. Odom with a bad foot still dives for the ball. And Lathan sprints to the other end and gets the basket.
What a great play by Odom, and he's a little banged up. That was a heck of a play to get that job done by Jake Odom.
And Odom, one of 9 players this year in all of Division I to have a triple-double. And Indiana State, a great hustle play here, Cap.
Well,
Jake
this is
Odom.
just a tremendous hustle play. Get it down the court, finish at the rack.
ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. Tonight, the state is Indiana. In a Hoosier-style rivalry, Indiana State leading 11-8 at the under-16 first half timeout. Love this series, and again, it goes back to 1921, Cap. And back in the old college division, these two had some of the biggest games in the country.
They did their tremendous tradition. You see 156 meetings. It's like Bears-Packers. I mean, one of the oldest rivalries going, and Indiana State with that slight lead.
I love your Bears-Packers reference because I think they started playing in 1921. That was the same year these teams started playing.
Very good.
How about that?
Can't push anything past you.
Nah. Keep it rolling. Here's Cole Ryan. He's getting lots of attention. I mean, Indiana State's running 2 guys at him, Cap. Once he gets the ball.
Well, the key, and there's just a bad pass across the court. Real nice job to finish in transition. Indiana State is showing me some very good aggressiveness here early. And for them to win, that's how they have to do it. Get some steals, but when you get the opportunity, boom, take it down the court.
Evansville does not turn it over much. In fact, they are 8th in the nation in turnover margin. And Kelly Self sees Indiana State a little aggressive here and trying to bump the cutter. It's going to be an emphasis tonight for Greg Lansing. He wants his guys to be very physical in bumping these Evansville guys off those cuts.
No question, because Evansville is such a patterned, such a precise team, and that's a point of emphasis for the NCAA officials this year. You cannot bump cutters, clutch and grab hockey style as they go through the lane. Can't impede their progress. You do as much as you can until they get you.
Odom missed from deep earlier. That's a rare turnover for him, leaving his feet.
He had an open look. He needs to take that shot. There's unselfish, and then there's too unselfish.
He had 15 against Evansville in that win in Terre Haute. Taylor goes inside. This will be a tie-up. Paul Jansen says the arrow goes to Evansville.
Nice job, though, by Kitchell. He reads the play. He doesn't reach in, doesn't commit the foul. He just uses what's called the principle of verticality. Okay, here comes the man right there. Nice job. Not to reach down and try and strip it. Just get a hand up, impede the shot, and force the tie-up.
Denver Holmes, the senior from Olathe, Kansas, played at South High School in suburban Kansas City. One of the Purple Aces seniors. And he leaves his feet and turns it over. That's already 4 turnovers for them.
That is not going to make Marty happy, and he will discuss that with his guys at the next time out, because they are leaving their feet before they have an idea of where the ball's going. You never leave your feet unless you know where you're going to throw the ball.
That's a half's worth of turnovers for them usually. Odom, lots of traffic inside. Evansville thought he walked. And Holmes steps out. Indiana State will have a side out of bounds. Sycamores, though, with some energy. We saw them almost beat Wichita State at Terre Haute in a game we had on ESPNU. They just couldn't finish at the rim. But they had great energy Wednesday night when they held Northern Iowa to 54 points and led wire to wire.
36% shooting. Toughest performance of the year for Northern Iowa offensively, and the best defensive performance for Indiana State. When they guard like that, they're a really good basketball team. But as Greg Lansing was telling me at the hotel today, he said, we're up and down. He goes, one day we guard, one day we don't.
So far, they're guarding here. But an aggressive move by Lewis Jones for Evansville. It'll be a foul on Carl Richard of the Sycamores.
Number 15, Carl Richard. That's his first personal foul.
Love the orange unis today.
I did too.
Again, if you're just tuning in, the orange uniforms, they have not been worn. This is something special. They didn't even reveal it to the crowd until the starting lineups, and it's to pay tribute to Jerry Sloan and Aaron McCutcheon, who was a great coach here back in the day.
Ed Cox in now, a junior from San Antonio. Nice pass on the big Lithuanian. As Rokas Chesnalavichus gets a bucket, he only averages 1 per game.
I'm just going to call him RC. You can handle the name. Outstanding finish.
Chesnalavichus.
Great battle inside, really getting physical between Lewis Jones and R.J. Mahurin, who was dealing with the flu this week. Missed practice. They didn't know if he'd be able to go, and he said, I finally feel like I've got some strength back.
You talk about streaky. Evansville is the same thing. They've won 2, lost 4, won 3, lost 1. They're just trying to find some consistency, and a shot like that, Ned Cox buries it.
That's the second basket we've seen them score coming off that curl move. He flashes right to that point at the top of the key there and nails it.
He had 22 against the Sycamores in Terre Haute in that narrow Indiana State win. Idle, he's been hot of late, and Idle buries the three. He had a career high, 12 against Evansville in the first meeting. That's 7 of his last 10 from 3.
Really like the way Greg Lansing's club has come out to play tonight. They are really good and quick on their cuts. They catch it, boom, it's already in their mind. We're going up, we're going up.
And this is going to be an offensive foul on Denver Holmes. And credit Steve McWhorter, who preceded the cutter, and Holmes ran him over. Second team foul in Evansville. You don't see an offensive foul much when a cutter just blows into the lane, and the defender was an off-ball charge taken basically by McWhorter. But Indiana State's preceding that cutter. They're doing a nice job.
They are. They're reading very, very well.
Evansville here at home, 7-5. They opened this building with an exhilarating win in overtime over Butler. Of course, the Bulldogs in the Final Four the last 2 years. Butler agreed to open the building, and Evansville agreed to beat them. Mahurin in the middle of the lane, rolls off. And Indiana State will keep it.
Indiana State making shots. You get an open look. Idle buries it.
Indiana State leading by 4 on the road at the under-12 first half timeout. A Tuesday night ESPNU is a college basketball doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern. Tennessee takes on Terrence Jones and the Kentucky Wildcats. Then they had a physical game yesterday with LSU. Then at 9 Eastern, Tyler Zeller leads North Carolina against Jeff Bzdelik's Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. It's the home court of college hoops on ESPNU, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. Tuesday night begins with a whip at 6:30 Eastern. Now, how good was that Ames High team from a couple of years ago? These two cats are sophomores, but look at the numbers. Harrison Barnes of North Carolina and Creighton's Doug McDermott.
And when Doug was coming out, Harrison was the big name. There was people, including Doug's own dad, who said, I'm not sure he's ready to play at that level right now. Doug is a legitimate National Player of the Year candidate. Just love the McDermotts. Doug is an outstanding player, and I've known Greg for quite a while. He's a classy gentleman as you'll deal with.
And he can really coach. And Creighton's sitting there in the top 14 of the country. They won again last night. We'll talk about the Bracket Busters coming up, but they have a juicy Bracket Busters game coming at the CenturyLink. But people don't realize Creighton is averaging in the top 10 in the country in attendance. They get 16.5 a game.
Wichita does a tremendous job.
10-4.
Wichita State 10-4 every game, sold out. So the environment throughout the league is phenomenal.
And new arenas all over the place, or refurbished arenas like at Wichita State. And this is a brand new arena in the first year here, Ford Center, seating nearly 10,000. They had Indiana. IU came in here as well. I mentioned their win over Butler to open the season for the Evansville Purple Aces, and IU came in here, and that was a crowd of almost 10,000 for the Hoosiers. 10 to shoot. Idle. This continues to smoke at home, and a great setup for him.
Well, the setup by McWhorter was outstanding, but if we get a chance to watch Idle, his feet are already set. So when the ball comes over, you don't have to look down, you don't have to feel, or where are my feet? He's already set. Load it up, let's go.
Nice lob play, and Ned Cox able to slip around the pick and get the easy lay-in.
Great shooters. I'm so reminded of watching some of the shooters that get rid of it so quick. The great Larry Bird, who played at Indiana State, his release was so quick, he didn't jump very high, but he would catch it and gone.
Wow, nice slip inside and an easy basket for Miles Walker. Evansville leads the goal wide open.
Real nice pass by Lathan. Outstanding feed right down the side of the lane.
Marty Simmons' team's known for crisp cuts and screening, but Indiana State's doing it on the other end.
Indiana State's come to play tonight, and they've come with really, really good temperament and aggressiveness. They're not out of control, but they're playing really hard.
Colt Ryan, extra pass. Sawville can't finish inside, and Kenny Harris, Cox, nails it. Ned Cox with a three. He was 4 for 4 from 3 against the Sycamores in Terre Haute.
Give Kenny Harris, though, some real credit there. He got the offensive rebound. He thought about going back up, and then he looked and went, it's going to be contested. My guy's wide open. It's unselfish. Make the extra pass. Get him an open look. and he buries it.
4-point lead for the Sycamores of Greg Lansing. Idle. McWhorter from the angle, and McWhorter's got his first 2 points. And right now, these two teams are passing in superb fashion.
They are moving the ball very effectively. We're seeing 6 out of 7 assists to baskets, 5 out of 6 till that one. Now we saw another one. I mean, you're seeing guys playing team basketball. Both clubs shooting lights out.
Indiana State taking turns on who's guarding Ryan, and there's a bump. Idle puts an elbow right into Colt Ryan's chest and right in front of Don Daly. You mentioned the assists. Indiana State has 10 buckets on 9 assists. Evansville, 8 buckets on 7 assists.
That is following the game plan.
Colt Ryan held to 4 points, averaging 21 per game in conference games. He's averaging 23, again, top 7 in the country. He's trying to get open. Now Odom's on him. Colt Ryan with the ball. Cox has been the man of late and leaves this one long.
Watching how they're defending Colt Ryan, they are really doing a great job switching on screens, verbally passing him along so they always know where he's at.
Richard, a back cut. Great pass from Miles Walker, and that's enough for Marty Simmons to call timeout.
Good timeout, needs it. Indiana State, when the defense is extended and coming out top, they're slipping a man back behind, and nobody's rotating down for Evansville.
This is a big week on ESPNU for a lot of reasons, and here's one of them. Wednesday is National Signing Day for college football, presented by AT&T, and ESPNU will have 10 hours of coverage starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. Major announcements, coaching interviews, live reports from a campus near you. ESPNU is your home for National Signing Day. Find out where the Stars of Tomorrow will play this Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. You and I, yesterday, were in Springfield. Missouri State hosted Northern Iowa. But that is the home of the top non-committed player in the country, Dorial Green Beckham from Springfield Hillcrest. It looks like Arkansas and Missouri are the leaders. Alabama's still involved. Oklahoma's still involved. He'll make his announcement on Wednesday. But this kid, 6'6", 220, runs a 4.4.
Okay, he's the freak. I mean, to watch his highlights we got to see yesterday down there are ridiculous. He's an amazing athlete. And you can tell he plays hard.
And look at his stats.
75 touchdowns.
His stepfather, the head coach at Hillcrest High School in Springfield. There's a lot of folks with some sleepless nights right now in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and Columbia, Missouri. Maybe even Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Norman, Oklahoma.
Not as many as the guys that have to guard him. If you're a cornerback and you look and go, oh boy.
And of course, Missouri going to the SEC next year. Arkansas is already there. Foul on Evansville. Their third team foul. The personal goes against Troy Taylor. Richard rims out on the 3. He had 3 threes on Wednesday night against Northern Iowa after he'd only hit 3 for over a month. Holmes forcing that one, but gets the roll.
Soft touch. Gets it to drop. Colt Ryan showing you very unselfish play right now. A lot of great scorers get very hungry. He's just passing and running the offense.
Indiana State is almost playing Colt Ryan the way you saw Wichita State play Doug McDermott of Creighton.
They run 2 guys out.
Yeah. Man down and a foul. Richard trying to post up in the lane. Offensive foul. If you're cutting in the lane, man, you better lace it up because there is contact in the lane. Cutters are not working free.
Check this pass out. We go 5-hole.
25-19, Indiana State with a good first half here on the road in a rivalry game. I told you it's a big week on ESPNU. I'm not kidding. It starts tomorrow night. Bracket Busters Selection Show. 6:30 Eastern. 13 made-for-TV matchups will be revealed. Find out who your favorite team will be playing. ESPN2, ESPNU, and ESPN3 will air the 13 Bracket Busters games February 17, 18. It's bigger. This might be the biggest year, Cap, for this event. And it goes all the way back to the early 2000s. But if you think of all the drama that could be there this year, Your thoughts on what you anticipate the matchups will be?
Well, I've got a few that I've picked out. I was talking with a guy who I think is one of the best analysts in college basketball, Fran Fraschilla, today.
Oh, yeah.
We had a long talk about the bracket busters. He was talking about Wichita State and Murray State, and I'm in agreement with him.
I agree.
Those two could end up locking horns. What a game that would be. How about St. Mary's and Creighton? St. Mary's is outstanding. Long Beach State has gone in, played Kansas tough, won at Pittsburgh. Iona's got a very good team. There could be some great games. I want to see where Cleveland State goes. The Bracket Busters is such a great concept, and I think it was the brainchild of MVC Commissioner Doug Elgin.
Absolutely. He was at the genesis of the event, and basically to create a scenario of Selection Sunday in March or those NCAA-type games for teams that needed it to improve their RPIs.
Well, here's the thing, and we talked about this last week. You have so many teams that are perceived as a mid-major because they're not in a Power 6 conference. I'll put Creighton up against anybody. I'll put Wichita State up against anybody. Creighton's 3-0 against the Big Ten. Those are two outstanding teams that both deserve to be in the tournament. Yet some of these so-called perceived big-name schools won't play some of the others. So how do you get an opportunity? Well, you have three ways. Play them in one of those neutral floor tournaments early in the year.
I'm big on that. You know that.
Play a bracket buster where you can get your RPI up, or go play in somebody else's place and say, okay, you won't play me, I'm coming to play you.
Yeah, that's hard to do, and I think that's a lot to ask for teams out of those non-Power 6s to go all the, I know you have to do some of it. Sometimes it's 2-for-1s. But the Old Spice Classic is an example. Indiana State was in it this year. They played Minnesota, narrow loss. They were able to win in that. They beat Texas Tech in that event, but that's a prime example. There's the Puerto Rico tip-off, which is a great event. And this year, Wichita State was in that. They played Temple and actually had a chance to play Alabama in a rematch of last year's NIT championship game. To me, those November neutral court tournaments are really, really tasty for the Power 6 versus the non-Power 6, and McWhorter hits a 3. Only a 6th three-point make of the year, and Indiana State continues to play very well.
Well, the ball movement there was outstanding. They went side to side. They forced the defense to move. Then you make the extra pass to the left wing, and he buries it.
One of those playing on the road deals, though, was Indiana State. They won at Vanderbilt this year in mid-December. Yeah, the team in blue won at Vandy in Mem-June. Hard to do.
I have no problem with a team like Indiana State saying, okay, they're not coming to Terre Haute, we're coming to you. You take on the challenge. I'm not expecting you to beat Syracuse on Saturday, Louisville on Monday, and keep one after another, but you pick and choose a few spots. Your kids revel in that opportunity.
Don Daly calls a foul. I might do it on a 2-for-1. Again, I got to pick and choose when to do it. But you know what? That loss by Kevin Stallings, and they were injured then. They weren't at full strength. They are now. They're playing so much better now at Vandy than they were at the point. But it's not going to affect Vandy's season. They're still on a roll. They could win the SEC, and they're going to get a great seed in the NCAA tournament. So it's not like it totally just took Kevin Stallings off the train track.
Correct, but it's great for whoever walks in there in Indiana State or in Evansville, whoever it is, goes in and plays those people. Your kids know what it's like to play against a big-name team with big-time players.
And Indiana State is backing up their effort that they had when they led Northern Iowa for the entire game in Terre Haute on Wednesday night. This is as good as Indiana State has played, maybe since that win over Vanderbilt. They have yet to win in the Valley on the road. They're 2-6 on the road overall.
You know, one of the biggest Indiana State basketball fans is Wisconsin football coach Brett Bielema, because he and Greg Lansing both worked at Iowa together. And Greg said we were both single. We would hang out at night together after we got our recruiting calls done and all of our work as Ryan gets fouled. But he said, I am a huge fan of Brett Bielema and how hard he works. And Brett, I was with the other night, said the same exact thing about Greg. He said, that guy gets after it. He goes, I love coaches that are so committed to their craft.
Well, Bielema's done an awesome job, as we all know, at Wisconsin. It's also an Iowa kind of thing. Greg Lansing's daddy was one of the top coaches in Iowa high school history at Harlan, Iowa, one of the best small school programs in the Midwest. The Little Cyclones, they call them, great in almost every sport. Here's Colt Ryan, 85% for the year on 154 attempts.
There you see Denver Holmes. Those are big-time numbers, and if they come down the stretch, and you're in a tight game, those are the guys you want getting the ball.
Ryan's even better, Cap, in Valley games alone. Now he's at 90%, 64 out of 72 after draining those two. And Ryan with 8 points leads Evansville in scoring. And Indiana State continues to be aggressive. Lathan with an easy shot at the goal.
Lathan just showed you outstanding post footwork for a guard. He posted up strong, the pass was threaded in there, and he took it right to the rim to finish. Real nice job.
I got to ask you about Evansville's defense. They're last in the league in field goal percentage D. They're 5-5 in the conference, but right now, if anything's holding back the Aces, it's this. There's too many baskets right at the goal for Indiana State. They continue to just pour it on.
Well, let's watch our guy Lathan again. Does a really nice job. Dwayne Lathan. He's out of Louisiana. He was an outstanding athlete in high school. He was a track star as well, and there he finishes inside. Real nice job.
Lathan started at Louisiana Tech, actually, before transferring into the Indiana State program.
Second in the state in high jumping. First on the relay 4x400. This guy is a big-time athlete.
That's the state of Louisiana, too. Okay, there's a few athletes in the Bayou State. 37-23, Indiana State's biggest lead of the game. At 4:23 to go in the first half. And this is kind of a stunner to me. We expected a close game, but Indiana State is playing almost to perfection here in the first 20. You know, his bench guys, too, for Greg Lansing have contributed. They've had so many injuries and some sickness. He was telling me before the game that he goes, it's opened up opportunities for our other 5. They've gotten better. It's made our team better.
Right, because when you start to get guys back, now you can go deeper into your rotation.